NTV Wild Talk in partnership with the Kenya Wildlife Service and Wildlife Direct.
Hello and welcome to NTV Wild Talk with me, Smriti Vidyarthi, coming to you from sunny Watamu here at the coast. Now today is going to be an interesting episode because we're heading out to the ocean to hopefully see some incredible dolphins. Those are marine mammals. But this isn't just for fun, this is actually work. And the Watamu Marine Association is heavily involved in collecting data and information about dolphins out at sea. Well, joining me now here at the beach is the chairman of the Watamu Marine Association, that is Justin Kitsao. Thanks for having us here.
Welcome, nice to meet you.
You too. Now Justin, tell us, what does the Watamu Marine Association do?
Watamu Marine Association runs marine conservation, community development and ecotourism projects. We do that in conjunction with KWS as partners in Watamu Marine National Park.
Why is it so important to have an entire association that conserves the area here and the marine park and the marine life in Watamu?
We depend on the marine park and reserve as community, and also because of the threats with our wildlife had before. So we took responsibility as well, a community organization.
And give us some examples of the kind of work that the Marine Association does.
We run dolphin and research in the Watamu Marine National Park. We have our team and we work in partner with KWS. We go out to take data of our dolphins. We also look on their distribution. We also look on threats and any other threat to other megafauna we have in Watamu Marine National Park. And
are dolphins easy to sight, or does it just depend on nature, really?
Yeah, like in the wild. The dolphins sometimes is good luck, but they are here. We have dolphins here, we have sea turtles around here. We have also whales around sometimes in September, July, September. So that depends on luck.
Right,
we can't guarantee, but they are here. We are happy because we have biodiversity here around that time.
All right, well, I am super excited to head out there and hopefully we will see some of these dolphins, but this is my first time out, going out to actually look out for dolphins. What should I expect?
You should expect the best, because we have the best. We have everything around here, so it's good luck.
Okay, all right.
You will enjoy the excursion. Just welcome to Watamu, welcome to Watamu Marine National Park. Have a wonderful trip to the dolphin watching and with our research team.
Great,
Thank
all right.
you.
Justin, asante sana. You're not joining us actually on this excursion. I'm sure you've done it plenty of times. But the research team is actually on board already. They're waiting for me. So now I'm going to head out to see. Come with me. All right, so I'm making my way to Seahorse. That is the boat that we're heading on to. Jambo Captain, habari. All right, so the Watamu Marine Association crew are already on board. Hi, everybody. Good to see you. Hi. Now, this is the first time, as I said, that I'm going out to see dolphins. And look who's with me. It is Ntindi Kasim. Hi, good to see you.
Hi, morning.
Morning. She is the deputy warden of this area, the Watamu Marine Park and Reserve. Ntindi, before we head out, there are actually some do's and don'ts when it comes to dolphin watching. What do we need to be aware of?
The captain is supposed to approach the dolphins at a steady speed. It should not chase the dolphins. It should not approach calves. We are not supposed to swim with the dolphins because they might feel being threatened and they can be aggressive. Wow. We are supposed to view the dolphins at a distance of about 50 meters. The boat is supposed to go by side of the dolphins and not intercept their path.
Wow, who would have thought that you've got to be so careful? Why is it so important to actually observe these rules?
Because the dolphins are wild animals and we want them to move freely, not to interfere with their movement and also to avoid injuring the dolphins as we are watching them. That's why we are very keen on matters of speed and the distance of watching the dolphins.
And if any boat operators or any crews break those rules, what action is taken perhaps by the KWS?
We enforce the law. So most of the time we do a lot of trainings to the fishers, boat operators, and even beach operators on dolphins. But when one breaks the law, we try to emphasize on the rules and regulations, and also if it comes to an extent that he continues breaking the law, we suspend that person for a certain period of time and continue training the others to know the importance of enforcing the rules and regulations pertaining to dolphin washing.
Okay, great. Well, we certainly will observe those rules. We are with a team of professionals, but very important to know that really these are wild animals and we must respect their space. All right, I'm looking forward to this. So let's head out to sea and hopefully we'll see these dolphins. Look at that.
Dolphins!
Where?
Just here.
Oh my God, here they are! Oh, wow.
Mother and a calf.
Oh, look
now here
at
they are so
that.
close.
Oh, that is absolutely
Yes.
beautiful. Okay, I'm going to climb out over here. All right, so we have just sighted about 13 individual dolphins. There they are. You can just see their fins, and there's a calf as well. Let's just spend a moment taking in this incredible sight before we learn more about them. So with me here as we watch these dolphins is Mike, and he works with the Watamu Marine Association. Mike, this is absolutely beautiful. Like I said, we've been out in the water. I almost lost hope that we may not see these dolphins. But now that we have, it's amazing. It's not so easy to sight them. Why is that though?
Since they're just wild animals and they usually move around places, so most of the times what we do is we base on the previous data that we have collected. So we know that there are areas where there is likelihood of sighting them. So even though it might not seem easy for someone who's coming for the first time, but for us we usually know that there is an 85% chance of sighting them on that particular day. And also something is, dolphins are not just as fish, because people might presume them to be fish, but they're just mammals like we are. And they do breathe marine mammals, and they do breathe air, and they also give birth to young ones, whom they usually wean for 2 months. And the gestation period is usually 11 months.
Oh, there's humpbacks as well. Now, what's the difference between the two kind of dolphins that we're seeing?
Humpbacks.
Okay.
Coming up.
Ah. Oh yes, and those are much smaller fins.
Smaller fins, and they're also smaller in size.
Oh, there they are.
They're
These are much smaller dolphins, and they're humpback. And how lucky we are that we're getting to see them. So, what's the difference between what was the first batch of dolphins that we saw?
Okay, the first bunch was the Indo-Pacific bottlenose dolphins, which are over there in a large group.
Further in the group.
Yeah, and the second ones that are close around there are the Indo-Oceanic humpback dolphins, the one that we can just see over here. And for someone who hasn't seen them or seeing them for the first time, you can differentiate them through their distinctive features, mainly looking their fins. So as you can see, the fins of the bottlenose dolphins, and the ones for the humpback dolphins, they've got like a hump. So that is the main categories that you can use to differentiate the two. And also the size. Humpback dolphins are quite smaller compared to the bottlenose dolphins, and also how they just do behave around the boats. With the humpback dolphins, they are very shy. Yeah, compared to the bottlenose dolphins that we can frequently see. So I usually just try to get the perfect shot of fins, because it's what we usually use later in the office to try and identify each individual dolphin.
And here they are again. Introduce our viewers to dolphins. What kind of animals are they? And what are some of their characteristics? It is difficult to see their full bodies here. They are jumping up and down in the water. But describe what they look like and how they behave.
With the dolphins, it just depends like with which kind of species it is.
Yeah.
So for the bottlenose dolphins, they are known to be very social, and also in some culture, they have been known to help people who are drowning, and also try to help people in different problems.
Really?
And also in other parts of the world, they're believed to help people who have undergone like traumas in their life.
Oh wow.
So if they're close to the dolphins and how they interact with them,
Yeah.
it brings like a special feeling in them to cool them down
Really?
and make them feel better. And with the humpback dolphins that you were initially seeing,
Yeah.
with those they are also known as mangrove dolphins.
Oh, okay.
And this is because they are mainly found close to the shore. And this is why they are critically endangered, because they usually end up finding themselves entangled in fishing gears that have been set close to the shore.
Oh.
And that's why you find them, they are quite few in number, because they are very high to get caught in nets.
But it really is interesting to learn that these creatures are social animals, and they even help human beings.
Another thing that we try to observe with the team is their behaviors, what they are mainly doing. So based on how they are swimming, we can either say if they are feeding or traveling, or if they are resting. So sometimes for resting, it's usually categorized with long time going down, and they take a very long period of time. They surface just for a few minutes, then go back underwater.
Okay.
But for feeding, they usually go down for fish chases, then come out, then go back in. So you can just know if they're feeding by how they're diving. So most of the times, if they're feeding, you'll tend to see at their backs, they do perform like a peduncle dive
Okay.
down.
Yeah.
Then they'll come up, or you'll see like them meandering around. So that will definitely show that they are feeding. And sometimes, if you are quite lucky enough, you might even see some of them with fish in the mouth. And it's so great just seeing that.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing.
If they're traveling, you can say they're traveling by looking how they move around. So if they were heading in a straight line
Yeah.
towards a certain direction, we'll say that they were traveling. But now they haven't moved far, because we are just also moving around. Yeah. And from the previous studies that we have done, most of the time what happens here, it's feeding. Yeah. And if we are like, what we might most likely see, it's once they move from this area, they're likely to go back.
Okay.
Yeah, and the poor that we mainly get coming to these ends and back are most likely mothers and calves. Yeah.
And
also-
when you say feeding, is this a particular spot that they come to feed? Where are we? Is it the reef?
okay, where we are close to the reef. Yeah, and in a reef, it's where they've got like richness of food.
And what
Yeah.
do they eat? What do they feed on?
Okay, for the dolphins mainly they feed on fish and squid. Yeah, and most likely in the reef you'll tend to get all variety of fish. Sometimes what happens is when they are with their kids, especially the young ones, they need to train them
Right.
to how to hunt,
Yes.
how to communicate to each other, and everything. So you might find lots of activities do happen in the dolphin world, and if we had the possibility to be underwater, we could hear them how they communicate. They usually communicate in two phases. We have got clicks, so mostly here,
Okay.
and also they do perform whistles. So and
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah, and if you just put any device underwater and just capture them, you can get to hear that voice, and it's so great just hearing them do that.
I can
Yeah.
imagine.
And they use that mode of communication mainly to, especially like whistles, they do communicate to each other. So each whistle has got a different signature, so they can definitely know like that whistle is from a particular dolphin. So
Yes.
it's like their name.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing.
And for the clicks, they do use them to find food. So as they're clicking around, it's like they're sending some waves. When they bounce on something, they'll come back to them,
Okay.
and they can be able to like create what that image is.
Oh, Oh, wow.
Yeah, and if it's food, especially in areas where there is like large amount of fish, what they do is they are what we call like group hunters. They'll form a large, they'll make sure that they bring all the fish at the center. Then each one of them comes in to
And gets
get
their
a mouthful,
turn.
yeah. And they'll just make sure that each one of them eats. Yeah.
Amazing.
Then once they're okay, they can move and continue with other activities.
So they care for each other. They
Yeah.
are like a family and friends and very
Yeah.
social.
Yeah, for the dolphins, they mainly live as family, and they're very much caring for each other. Even for example, sometimes you can hear like instances whereby there is a sick dolphin. So what they'll do if they can't really help that dolphin, they'll just make sure they push that dolphin to shallow areas where it can be able to continue breathing.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do they come up to breathe? Is that why they come up?
Yeah, they usually come out to breathe, then go back in the water. Yeah.
Oh, that's
So they usually have got their nose on top of their heads.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So they come out, breathe,
Yeah.
then it's got like a valve that closes it while they go
Oh, wow.
underwater. Yeah.
Typically, Mike, how long would the team from the Watamu Marine Association spend out here collecting the data, which we will talk about shortly?
Time usually varies with like how we sight them and where we sight them, because sometimes there have been instances whereby we come out of the shore, we just spend like 20 minutes searching for them, and here they are. So we spend like the rest of 1.5 hours just observing them. So in total, on that good day, as you can say, we can maybe spend even 3 hours.
Right.
But sometimes when we have to go around searching for them in different places, we can even spend up to 5 hours.
This area that we're in right now is still part of Watamu.
Yeah.
Does the Watamu Marine Association work in other surrounding areas at all, because dolphin conservation is so important?
This year we have also started heading up to areas near Malindi to try and see what really happens out there if we have got like a different port than ours. And also we have like future plans of also trying to expand to other areas as well, because we know dolphins we have the transit dolphins that move across places. Like in the previous years, we have had an experience whereby there was a dolphin that was photographed in Shimoni, and the same dolphin was found in our area.
Oh.
So that means that they just do move a lot.
And how can you differentiate, for example, a male dolphin from a female dolphin?
You can know their differences if maybe you see them leaping out of the water. So for the females, they usually have got like a division sign, a split, and 2 dots, which the split are the genitals and the 2 dots are the mammary glands. But for the males, they only have got the split. Yeah, so that's one way that you can really differentiate their sexes while in the water.
How old do dolphins live up to? What's their age span?
Okay, in the wild they can live up to 100 years.
Really? 100 years?
Yeah, but in captivity they just have got a very short lifespan based on, because they're animals that can as well as have stress.
Yeah.
And once they like feel that that environment isn't good for them, because with dolphins they're just animals who move in bigger spaces, so
Yeah.
confining them into one specific point, it stresses them up, and dolphins have been known to also commit suicide.
Really?
Yeah, they can commit suicide.
How do they do that?
What they do is, with dolphins, they're not like us that we breathe automatically.
Yeah.
They have to think to breathe for the
Okay.
dolphin. Yeah. So they can just decide that I'm not going to think to breathe, and that's it. They just
And
go
what would
down the
cause
pool.
them to commit suicide? I mean, is it more so the dolphins that are in captivity?
Okay, they do feel trauma, especially it depends how they were taken out of the environment. So if it was a mother with calves and then it gets taken out from its child, or maybe the child gets taken out from the mother. So initially they'll tend to cope well, but then over time it really gets too much to them, because they'll just get used to a certain point, and then they are wild animals. They have got the wild habits that they're used to. But now here they just confined in a specific point, and there is nothing much they can do that can really make them happier.
Yeah, no doubt that is one of the threats, which we'll talk about a little bit later. For now, though, the engine's on. Let's try see what more we can get. So we've been out here for about 45 minutes watching these incredible dolphins here in Watamu. They are now surrounded a little bit more by some tourist boats that have come out to view these spectacular marine mammals. It has been such a pleasure, but we need to take a break right here on NTV Wild Talk. Do stay with us, there is plenty more coming up when we return. Welcome back to NTV Wild Talk with me, Smriti Vidyarthi, coming to you from the ocean right here in Watamu. Now, before we took the break, we saw some incredible dolphins. It was a spectacular sight. And with me still is Mike Mwang'ombe, the data analysis collector and also photographer for the Watamu Marine Association. That was really special. I just got so mesmerized. They are beautiful, beautiful marine mammals. And as you said, very, very family oriented and very caring for one another. But Mike, the reality is that these mammals are under threat. Tell us, what are some of these threats?
First, we start from the natural threats, which include like their prey. So like, for example, the dolphins that we have seen earlier, one of the main threats they face out there could be sharks, and especially the tiger sharks.
Oh, wow.
They do bite them off.
Really?
And it can't really be fatal, especially for young ones, if they get completely bitten, because most of the times they bite like above the fin. Okay. And other threats include human caused, like the oil and gas exploration. As they are trying to find for the oil using air guns, it can really be fatal for them because it disorientates them, and it can even lead to mass stranding.
Oh, wow.
We also have got other causes that can be like the global causes that we know, like plastic pollutions and other pollution. So for example, plastics are really bad for them, and especially once you get out there, find plastics all over the place, and sometimes they might be swimming, and for them they could like familiarize it to a sea creature, and they end up going towards it, and sometimes if it gets on their head, it can block their nostril and they'll be unable to breathe. And another threat that they can mainly face, even though it's not that great, it's as they're out there and people just go towards them at high speed with boats, sometimes they can end up like knocking them.
Oh, wow.
Which can really be bad for both the dolphins and
Of course.
human.
But what is our dolphin population like here in Kenya? Are we doing well with our numbers?
In Kenya, based on two sites that studies have been conducted, which is Shimoni and Watamu, the numbers are quite great, and also you've got a great chance of sighting dolphins in these areas. And like, for example, what we have seen today, you know, initially you can't feel like broken hearted and think like, oh, we're not going to see the
Yes.
dolphins. But one thing is you have to be patient with them.
Right.
And it's like they do feel like how we are, so they know that if you're very eager to see them, they can just
They'll
try
show
to
up.
yeah.
Awesome.
And also in other areas that we are now trying to reach out, there have been reports from the sports fishermen that do report seeing them out there. And even local fishermen are playing a very greater role, especially in the contributing of the data. And this is to the place that we haven't yet reached,
Right.
which is again something that is giving us baseline information of where the dolphins are being sighted.
Well, that's really great to hear that fishermen are actually involved in helping collect the data.
Yeah.
But are they causing any threats as well? Because we know that overfishing is a challenge. Do fishermen or anyone out there try and kill dolphins for any reason or capture them?
Okay, there have been anecdotal information of some places whereby dolphins are caught and used as baits to catch shark.
Really?
But then that is still yet at its minimal. And also, like recently, with all the work that we've been doing and with the collaboration with all the stakeholders, KWS, fishermen, and everyone, people have started now understanding like what importance these dolphins do have. So they're trying as much as possible to use means that wouldn't really interfere with the dolphins, especially in areas where there are dolphin sightings.
Right.
Yeah.
And why would someone think that a dolphin is important? Why should we care and protect them?
First of all, to the community that do live around these places, they have seen the economical benefit because it's created a job which is dolphin watching.
Yeah.
People do come out here to watch dolphins. And apart from just watching, you know, as you take people out, you also get to learn some few things about them.
Right.
So it's on another side being like an education center for them. So out of learning how dolphins are contributing to their community,
Yeah.
people have started to become more caring. Yeah. And they're really, really looking out for them.
You know, on the local perspective, it seems that, you know, we are not doing too badly, but on the global picture, some dolphins are actually captured to take into captivity, which can have traumatic effects, as you mentioned earlier in the show. And also dolphins are slaughtered. Tell us more about the global picture.
There is like a lot that is yet to be done, because there are some places whereby dolphins are caught and taken into captivity, and in other areas even slaughtered for meat and other uses, which is really, really bad, especially seeing that animal. And looking at a dolphin is quite different from other marine mammals,
Yeah.
or what you can say, like different from other marine creatures, because they're animals that do have feelings,
Yeah.
and they do understand what's happening around the environment.
Very intelligent animals as
They're
well.
super intelligent, yeah. So taking these animals out of their habit or separating them from their families, it's just like we human beings.
Yeah.
If we are separated from our loved ones, there is that traumatic effect that
Right.
comes out. So for them, it's just the same thing.
Well, let's talk about what the Watamu Marine Association does, because you are a team of experts, marine experts, scientists, researchers, data collectors that actually go out almost every day to collect data about these dolphins. Why do you do it? And take us through all the steps. What is everybody's role? How do you operate?
Okay, we have got our, we can say our eye, Mr. Kind,
Okay.
because he can really clearly identify these dolphins, and he knows all the dolphins that we do have in our area.
Really? So, for example, the ones we saw out
We
there,
saw today, yeah.
he knows who they are. Do they have names?
Yeah, he knows them all, and he knows their names, and even he knows if they are mothers with calves,
wow.
if a mother gave birth into a new calf,
Yeah.
or if, yeah, even he knows if one dolphin falls in love with another dolphin. He knows all.
Really? He knows?
Yeah, he's really good with all
So
that.
Kahindi knows about all the drama and the love stories that
Yeah.
go around the dolphin families.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have got Shady, who usually does fill the boat form. And what is comprised in the boat form? It's information about all the fishing activities that do happen out there. Like if we see fishing traps, if we see fishing boats, and even if we see tourist boat. So basically what we're looking at, it's all the vessels that are out there, or any fishing activity that's out there. Then at the end of the day, all this information is compiled together and try to see, like, do these activities that happen out here, do they have any relation to the dolphins that we are seeing here, and which can really help give more information to even local communities. Like if you need to have more dolphin sightings, this was what you have to do.
I see.
Then we have got Jen, who fills the event log, and what goes into the event log, this is information that is recorded after every 15 minutes.
Oh, wow. So whilst you're out at sea, every 15 minutes
15
you're recording data.
Yeah. So what is being recorded there, it's date, time, the position where we are, then looking at other environmental factors like clouds, sea condition, wind direction, where the wind is blowing to, and also like looking if we have got rain,
Okay.
if it's calm. So again, all this information also tries to help understand like environmental factors influencing the sightings of dolphin in our area. And if these environmental factors are influencing dolphin sightings in Watamu, what about other areas that could have the same environmental factors? Could we likely see dolphins in other places? Then at the end of the day, we all come together and sit down and fill the last form, which is citation sighting form.
Okay.
So in this form, we all have to contribute our minds and try to ask each other like, how many dolphins did you see? Because each one of us can have a different count. Some maybe can see 10.
Sometimes you disagree.
Yeah, and then we have to sit down and discuss the behavior that we saw out there, like ask each other, what do you think? What are you seeing out there? Then we all have to agree to one thing.
Right.
If maybe we saw them feeding, we all have to agree that they were feeding.
So essentially you all have to have a very keen eye and pay a lot of attention to what you're seeing. It's not just a joyride to see dolphins. And KWS also play a role. They have a lady on board as well. Lynn, what's her role?
Lynn is part of us, and she contributes in the watching out for the dolphins. So we also have got those people who stay in front of the boat and try to look around the sea.
I'm sure Kahindi could do with a second pair of eyes.
Yeah, and once we sight the dolphins, now we have to switch.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So sometimes Lynn goes to the phone and sometimes she goes to the camera and try to take the pictures of the dolphins.
So you all rotate what you do in order to get the best information. But once all this data is collected, what exactly do you do with it? How does it help in the conservation of dolphins and the research?
Okay, once we collect all this data, we go back to the office and try to... So focusing back to Mr. Kahindi, he's the one who mainly deals with photo identification.
Oh.
So he downloads all the pictures from the camera, and he does like one great job, because I don't think it's really like an easy task to analyze 10,000 photos in a day.
And he's doing that based on what, the fins of the dolphins?
So we have the catalog that was created from the first studies that we've been doing, and we had to first make sure that these are consistent dolphins that we keep seeing out there. So what he does is he tries to compare the photos that we have to the photos that are on the catalog. And if just in case there is a new individual that has been sighted, what happens is that individual doesn't directly go to the catalog. It stays in a separate folder. And once the whole season has been analyzed, because we usually do our surveys in seasons, and the seasons usually start from November to August, and that happens throughout every year. So once he completes the first season, what he does is we go back, we all have to come back together again and discuss like, this new individual, is it an existing one that has developed? Because you can have cases whereby a new notch develops on an existing dolphin, and you might end up saying like, this is a new one, but if you just clearly look at it, you realize like, oh, it's just the old one but with a new notch. So we all have to sit, then agree, and then what we agree, we have got other scientists who work remotely who have done like dolphin research for many years. So we try also to get their views, like, what do you think about this? We have all agreed it's a new individual, but also do you really agree with us? And then once everyone has agreed on that, we take that individual now to the catalog and give it a number.
And then what happens when they have the number? What are you really doing with the information? Is it just basically to monitor the population and the health of the dolphins?
Okay, with all the information that we do collect, both the geographical and the photographies, what we try to do at the end is, one is to monitor the population of the dolphins in our area and try to see like, are they increasing or are they decreasing, and then also trying to look at the environmental factors, like what influences the dolphins to be in our area, and if there are any other things that we could try to implement. And also, we try to share that information to the community. We also go to schools and share our findings, what we have discovered in our town, and even give them education of what really happens down here. Because, you know, if you come for the first time, you might just sit like being, oh, that intense scientific work.
Yes.
But then we just try to make it simple even to the communities, to just see like what we do and how they can participate. And now people are just trying to feel free even in participating. So sometimes we even have the boat operators filling the data forms.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, which is something really great, as now people have started getting the value of really doing it and feeling comfortable with
and
it.
feeling a sense of sort of ownership,
Ownership,
that this
yeah.
is our wildlife and really we must care for it, because the people of Watamu, I mean, they have a gem of a place around them. Now, speaking of amazing dolphins and sightings, what are some of the other special sightings that you've seen here in Watamu?
Okay, this year we had just a very, I can say, grand opening of the season, because we managed to sight what are called false killer whales.
Oh, okay.
And
false killer whales.
Yeah, they're quite rare.
Does that mean they're not really killer whales?
Yeah, they're not really killer whales, but then they just somehow look to like the killer whales.
Alright.
So the killer whales are quite a bit
Yeah.
bigger than them. And it's quite rare finding them where we really sighted them. They are mostly found offshore in deep waters, but then we just managed to find them close to our waters. And one really interesting thing with that, it really like gave us a bigger insight on like creating more stuff that you can give out to the boat operators and anyone else who does sea safaris or dolphin watching, because people do need to understand that apart from the notion that, you know, dolphins are the cuddly creatures and you can go in and swim with them, but they do have to understand that we have got different kinds of dolphins, and different kinds of dolphins do behave differently. So we have got the cuddly one that can decide to, yeah, let me just go close and watch these humans swimming around. But then we've got those who are top predators. So like false killer whales, they're the top predators, and anything they do find on their way of feeding, they just end up
feeding on it,
Yeah.
And I suppose that's why you partly encourage people who come out to see the dolphins to stay on the boat, because it's a better view and you don't interfere with their behavior, and it's probably safer as well. And where is or who is giving support to the Watamu Marine Association?
Okay, our biggest supporter who has been supporting us in this great work that we are doing are the AFU, African for Endangered Wildlife. They've been contributing a lot to the research that we're doing out here in giving us all the support possible.
You seem so passionate about this job. What does someone need if they want to get involved with this kind of marine conservation? What qualities?
Okay, with marine qualities, or let's say like any science that you just need to, or you find it interesting, the biggest secret to anything, it's just self-motivation, passion, curiosity, and the urge to follow it up. That's what gives you a self-drive to really pursue lots of things. And, you know, because something that you follow out of passion, it then like gives you a bigger perspective of everything. You try to look things from inside the box and outside the box, and to get like a very bigger picture. And something that, okay, we've just had a talk about the dolphins, but I just forgot to mention about something, and I know if they had me, they would kill me up. The whales. In Watamu, we also have got whales that do migrate across our waters, and these are the humpback whales. And they usually start migrating across from Antarctica around July, June, August, and September. And so what we usually do, we have got a specific point on land where we usually go and do land-based surveys. So what we basically do is stay at a specific point on land, use binos to scan at the sea. And for the whales, they are big, and you can just, so mainly what we see, sometimes we see them jumping, and it's so marvelous just seeing them, these 18-ton creatures. Just jumping out of the water, and it's so spectacular. And
you can see that here in Watamu if the time is right.
Coming at the right time, you can see all that. And sometimes what we try to do, we try to have a talk with the sports fishermen, because they're part of our stakeholder in all this data collection. What we do, we usually get some rides with them and go out to try to plot different areas where we do set them and even take pictures of them.
All right, brilliant. Well, keep up the great work, and really what fun and what amazing stuff you get to see right here in Watamu. Now, all this work, of course, is done in collaboration with the Kenyan Wildlife Service. In just a moment, I'll find out more. Well, joining me now is Ntindi Kasim, the Deputy KWS Warder of the Watamu Marine Park and Reserve for the Kenya Wildlife Service. How is the work of the Watamu Marine Association making a difference, really, and improving the marine life here and education?
Because Watamu Marine Association does a lot in terms of conservation education. It does a lot in terms of trash collection all along the beach. Daily, they have their blue team, which does trash collection, and it is later taken to the recycling plant for recycling. They do trainings, both to our staff and to stakeholders on marine conservation. They train also the tourism, the locals who are doing tourism activities, and give some pamphlets on the guidelines of which they're supposed to be following.
And is all of this working? Is it improving things?
It is working, it is improving. We are able also to know the numbers of dolphins which are around Watamu, moving around Watamu Marine Protected Area. Currently, like the bottlenose, we have about 141 individuals, which are just moving around the Marine Protected Area in different pods. And it has been a success to us, because if they see any violation, they report to us. If they see any injuries, they report to us, and us as management take a management action to address the problem which they have reported to us.
And if anybody watching this show, I'm sure they are truly excited about what they've seen. If they want to come and see dolphins, what should they do? How should they go about it?
They can book through the different tour companies which we have here. They can go to KWS website. We have our contacts there. They can contact us and we can guide them. We have the local boat operators, Watamu Association of Boat Operators, also, who are doing marine park excursions, both for snorkeling, dolphin watching, because we mostly value the locals to see, so that they can also see the value of conservation through getting some income out of the activities which they do through ecotourism activities. And we have 3 gates, which are access points: Blue Bay Gate, Turtle Bay Gate, and Temple Point Gate, where you can reach our marine protected area through those gates. And at Blue Bay Gate, we have those local boat operators stationed there, and you can take a boat from there to the park.
So thanks very much for joining us.
Welcome.
All right, this is NTV Wild Talk, coming to you from the ocean, where we've just viewed some incredible dolphins. Time, though, to take a breather from that. Here is our wild guess question. Which 2 types of dolphins were spotted during the trip out at sea? Which 2 types of dolphins were spotted during the trip out at sea? To participate, you must like the NTV Wild Facebook page. Only answers posted on the timeline post that's associated with this question will be considered. The first person to answer correctly wins 2 nights for 2 full board at the lovely Eco Lodge Jua Bahari in Watamu, plus free entry for 4 people and a vehicle to any national park, courtesy of the Kenya Wildlife Service, 1 bottle of wine courtesy of Wines of the World, and a gift hamper courtesy of Wildlife Direct. Terms and conditions apply and can be found on the NTV Wild Facebook page. Last week's lucky winner was Dr. Sami Washira. And now, here's our Wild Pick segment. This is a snap of Kate Cherono. She was at the Giraffe Centre in Nairobi, feeding and kissing the giraffes. Kate says she had gone there to spend Valentine's Day with nature. At the Karura Forest, this is a snap of Charles Masharia. He was posing in front of the waterfall and says that he had gone there for a nature walk. In Kapsabet, Eldoret, this is Kevin Osiemo. He was standing on a cut-down tree and Kevin says he's saddened by deforestation. Richard Karanja was at the Gedi ruins in Kilifi. Richard was posing with a friendly monkey and says he was there on holiday. And then this is baby Ariana Wanjiku. She was at the National Museums of Kenya. Ariana was enjoying the fresh air and the outdoors while admiring this big tree. Her parents had taken her there for a day out at the museum. If you want your photo showcased on our Wild Pick segment, just like our NTV Wild Facebook page. Send a photo that shows you celebrating nature via private message. Include your full name, tell us where the photo was taken, what you were doing and why. The dolphin population here in Watamu is thriving with mothers and calves. And the work and research of the Watamu Marine Association is going miles in helping us learn more and more about these incredible marine mammals. But you need to come out and see them for yourselves. So plan a trip. Well, that's it on NTV Wild Talk with me, Smriti Vidyarthi, coming to you from Watamu. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again next Tuesday at 10 p.m. Sorry. I completely forgot to tell you. WS and the Watamu Marine Association. No, sorry. How are?
NTV Wild Talk in partnership with the Kenya Wildlife Service and Wildlife Direct.
Yo